Hey, productivity and profit. What's up? I was just talking to a private client, a network member, who is a gym owner moving remote, and wanted help putting together the online program, right? Because when you have an online program in fitness, which I've done successfully before, is there's a lot of weird psychological stuff that goes into fitness in general, right? So here's a conversation we had was basically, how do I teach this? How do I teach all of these concepts, all these principles? How do I make it so people keep getting better quantifiably? We had this conversation because I've had people that, like, the first time I dieted to get in shape, people were like, wow, you got in really good shape. And then 12 weeks later, I was in a little better shape. And then 12 weeks after that, I was in a little bit better shape. And then 12 weeks after that, I was in a little bit better shape. And it's very weird for people, right? Like, it's not often you see somebody on a diet that looks better every time you see them for years and years and years, or has a business that's growing and has continued to grow year over year over year. But it's the same concept. It's a complex adaptive system. And the answer is understanding minimum effective dose and relative change. Okay. So I'm going to use exercise as an example. If in our online program, R3 is another good example. If you go to r3class.com, you might say, okay, I'm doing this exercise program right now. I'm working out 5 days a week. I'm doing this, and this. And I'm just tired of it. I want to make progress. I would say, cool. And I would start at the most fundamental thing. And I would say, do you actually go 5 days? And they say, no. I say, okay, well, go every day for 5 days. That's step one. Well, what kind of program? It doesn't matter until you go every day for 5 days. That's a relative improvement over what you're doing, right? If we pick absolutes, if we just pick random crap, we have no baseline. We have no way to isolate variables. So step one is like actually do the thing that you have planned. Okay. When you do that, we say, all right, cool. So now I'm going to teach you this warm up. Or you just warm up every day before you go to the gym. Like, well, what about the programs? It doesn't matter, because going every day and doing this warm up is a relative change, and it will create a relative change with minimum effective dose. You can only make so much progress physically in a week, period. If we can do that with a tiny change, why would we make a big change? Okay, so that's this. It's understanding relative change and minimum effective dose. So after that, I would say, cool, you went to the gym every day. You did your warm up every day. Cool. I'm going to teach you on Monday. I want you to squat like this. Let me show you how this works. Okay. Well, what about the rest of the week? Just do whatever you would normally do. Keep everything the same. We're only going to make the smallest change that will create the highest possible relative change. Right. So now all of your squats are more effective. Do everything the way you were before. We don't need to overhaul the whole program for a whole week. Second week, I'd say, okay, what's the next thing? Maybe it's your back, maybe it's your legs, whatever. Maybe it's a bench press. We just work through it. It would take maybe 7 or 8 weeks before their whole entire program was optimized and custom and completely different than when you started. But it never feels different because we did minimum effective and we focus on relative change, right? Business is the same way. Going, I'm overhauling this whole entire funnel and pulling the full thing out, building a new one is ridiculous. All we have to say is, what is the minimum? What is the smallest, most fundamental change we can make that will increase the conversion? Okay, let's do that. Let's wait a week. Then what's the next smallest, right? So it's just minimum effective dose and understanding relative change, not absolute. We don't look at other people's funnels and say, hey, we want a funnel like that. It's, how did this change affect what we already have? How is our funnel, or how is our sales process, or how is our retention relative to how it was before? That's all that matters. And if you do that, you will be the only person, right? Who cares about this other funnel? Because you will be the only person that looks better every single day, every single week, every single month for the rest of your life. You'll be the only person that has a more effective process every single day, every single week, every single month, right? Imagine if you did one thing that increased your sales percentage by 1% and your retention by 1% a quarter, for 5 years. Think about that. You don't think a 20% increase in a sales close percentage and a 20% increase in retention wouldn't be like astronomical? Minimum effective dose, relative change. Those are the keys. Okay. So think about that. Think about how that applies. And it's a slow, steady, controlled end over end. It's like compounding interest. Same idea, right? Minimum effective dose, relative change. If you understand those two things, you can get better and better and better. And eventually you are so far beyond those other people that you used to be watching that it's ridiculous. Okay. Not better than them. I'm better than I was yesterday. And I'm going to find the minimum effective dose, get a positive relative change every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year. That's how you win the game. So you win the long game. Cool.